I look so tired, and my phone battery's low, so I have to hold it hold it while it's in the charger instead of putting it in the tripod. So I'm not gonna wait much for the what's it called for us to have more viewers. I'm gonna jump right into it so that I can go to sleep. I'm so sorry that this live was so late today, but we're here and it's not the end of the day yet, so that's a win. So, one of my favorite artists, Makadzi, and it's so funny that we should talk about Makadzi because she's a secular artist and we're talking about secular music, but she has a song called A Win is a Win, no matter what. A win is a win. Was a point this year where that song motivated me quite a bit. But I'm actually going to reference that as I continue speaking. But for now, let's get right back into the conversation. Secular music, what is it? Secular music basically is anything that's not gospel music, that is not meant to revere um, praise, worship God. It is just the opposite of gospel Christian worship music. That's why earlier I said even music that's just about a tree is secular music. So when you get on this Christian journey, a lot of the times you'll find that people will discourage the listening of gospel music or I think sorry secular music or secular shows or secular shows, any content that's secular, especially content that is lustful, because the flesh is so weak, and what you feed your mind is what's going to then feed your actions, if I can say so in the simplest way possible. Let me give you guys an example. One of the things that I noticed about myself um, when I was still a party girl is that I would listen to a lot of secular music when I was like on my way to the club. I would be in the club, I would be drinking, and then I'd be on my way to the club and I'd be listening to a song that would say, "If I can get him tonight, I'm the girl, I'm so hot. Um, I just need a drink and then I'm gonna get him," something like that. That's the kind of music that I'd be listening to. And that music, when I look back at that phase of my life in hindsight, that music fueled what would essentially be like my night. My night would be exactly exactly what I was what's it called? Exactly what I was speaking. It came into existence. And I found it so interesting when I thought about it earlier this year that my life was like every single thing that I was speaking in that music came into existence. I would be, like I said, I'd be like, I'ma get him, I'ma get him, I'ma get him. I'll be listening to that Megan the Stallion, Cardi B, you know that music, and you know what they say in that music. That would be how my night would end up. And I don't have to say much. So that's when I really started believing in secular music and the power of the tongue and how um, a lot of these things were speaking them into existence, and that's why it's not encouraged that you that it's encouraged that when you continue with your Christian journey or get into it, like really want to commit to it, that you should just leave all on that behind. So um, I know that it sounds, I don't know if cliche is the word that I can say, but it can get really confusing, especially if you're new on your walk with God. Like, why is it that these people are restricting me from everything? They're taking away everything, and I just want to listen to Cardi B. I like her. It's until you notice the patterns and the connection that you'll truly understand why you're being discouraged from listening to that music. Earlier before the live cut, I was talking about how all you have to do really is cut secular music even for 10 days, and you will see how sensitive you become, how sensitive your ear becomes, how sensitive your spirit becomes when you try to reintroduce it, even in small doses. um, it can even just be a week, 7 days, and you will, I guarantee you, you will not want to listen to it again after that. um, and when I talk about sensitivity, I mean that when you play it, it's in my language. They say that, hey, dipina tsa teng di tle be di tlhaba, mahoko a teng a tle ba tlhaba. Basically, it means that you'll be hearing these words and you'll just be like, like it's like something is stabbing your ear or your spirit. You're just like, I can't believe she just said that. Yes, she just said that. And now, because you're hypersensitive, it makes you uncomfortable. You do not agree with it. You realize that this is going to influence the way you behave. So that's that on that in terms of secular music. I've told you guys my story. And I am not a perfect Christian. I do not claim that I am. Some of the artists that I find myself listening to from time to time are Double HP. Those who know me know that I love Motswako for some reason. But even when I listen to Double HP, I find myself conflicted sometimes because I don't want to get to a point where, because I love Double HP, but I never wanted to get to a point whereby it's like I worship him. Because if you don't know, Double HP struggled with depression and he ended up taking his life. And I don't want to, how can I say? It's like some of these things, you inherit some of these spirits, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to get to a point where I'm inheriting his or walking down his path because I love him and his music so much. Um, but although I love his music, but although I like to defend Motswako a lot of the times, that it's the more, it's the less vulgar hip hop. Um, I do still try to avoid his songs where he talks about drinking, boozing, and grooving, where he talks about how he had some girl in the house and oh, oops, they made a mistake, whatever, whatever. Those I try to avoid those ones. Um, when I fully committed to my journey with Christ, I had to let go of Tupac. Actually, that's the more interesting part of this life. I had to let go of my love for Tupac because even if I tried to defend it or cut corners, at the end of the day, Tupac's music is quite vulgar. It is very aggressive. Um, Another thing, when there was a point in my life where I was a very, very violent person. Um, in yeah, in action, like physically and like verbally, and I realized it was because of the music I was listening to as well. So um, when I made the decision to stop listening to Tupac, it wasn't that difficult. Although I loved Tupac, you see that frame now that has the flyer in it. That's a flyer from an event we did earlier this year. Um, there used to be an image of Tupac in that in that frame, and like I said, when I got really serious, or when I decided to commit fully to my journey with Christ, I had to let go of Tupac. I was just like, there's no if buts maybes about it. Like he's very vulgar, he's very aggressive, and I don't see it pouring into me in a positive way in any sort of way. Gori, even if I can try and justify it, it's unjustifiable. But yeah, that's basically it. I hope that my experiences get to sort of contribute positively to your journey with Christ in case you've been struggling to let go of secular music, you've been contemplating it. Um, One of the things that one of my close friends likes to say is that God loves me so much that he doesn't want me to live a overly restricted life, and because of that, and with saying that, she doesn't like overly restrict herself, as in she does indulge in some sorts of music here and there, like deep house and the like. And I like I said, um, tend to how can I say, operate on that same wavelength as well. That God loves us so much that He doesn't want to completely strip everything from our lives and just um, that they all work and no play makes Barbara a dull girl. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's why earlier I was saying that sometimes here and there I dabble in listening to the likes of Double HP and the like. But for the most part, my playlist is 90% gospel music. And there are various forms of Christian gospel music or Christian music. I had to discover many different types so that I could keep myself entertained. And then sometimes I really just don't listen to anything because yeah, you get to a point where your playlist is just like, and you're just like, okay, I guess I'll just ride in silence in my car today because I've played these songs so much that they could scream. So yeah, and there's only so many new songs that you can discover. I actually had that one of those moments today. I was like, I don't want to hear any of these songs. I've listened to them all and I need a break. But yeah, that's basically my rant about secular music, about not being overly restrictive, but actually, hold on. Sometimes it's best to like submerge yourself first in the first year or 9 months or whatever before you make the decision to reincorporate very very light secular music. There are people who go like full, how can I say, 100% no secular music, or like, yeah, 0% secular music, 100% um, praise and worship. Um, but yeah, it's okay. Different strokes for different folks. Right here, we yeah. I don't know what I was gonna say, but thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna go now before I go on another one. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something. I hope that your journey with God goes well and is successful, and that you're happy and you embrace it. I know it can be tough sometimes, but stick with it. God loves you, and good night.